I'm Acheampong and welcome to the SheerLuxe show. There are a lot of women who are at the top of their game on today's show. I interview Perrie Edwards on launching her new single. Facialist to the stars, Michaella Boulder, shows us how to transform our skin with 3 products. And the guests on the sofa today aren't too shabby either. I'm joined by founder of If Only If Nightwear, Campbell, founder of clothing brand Marfa Stance, Dent, and co-founder of skincare brand Indu, Reena Hammer. What a trio of powerhouses. Hello, ladies. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Now, I just want to talk business with you guys because obviously we've got 3 epic business owners here. First off, can you tell me, they say everyone has a book in them. Do you think the same applies for business? Like, how do you work out, or how did you work out what you wanted to do?
I'm going to be the controversial one. I don't think everyone has a book in them.
I actually don't.
I think
Some
it's
people.
not for everyone. Like, it really isn't.
Yes,
like,
business.
No, like,
Okay.
you know, you need to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're good or bad. It doesn't mean that only good people can run businesses. Like. It's just different challenges, different things you need to be able to cope with. So I definitely think not everyone, has.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of same analogy. But I think when you know that about yourself and you know that you can handle stress, you know that you can kind of, I guess, be that sometimes. For me, that swan, that is doing all of that, but you can keep that
your head
level.
above
You've got
water.
to be able to keep your shit together, right? Or at least
Appear
to. But I think when you feel like there's an idea, you feel like there's something that you can't really get out of your head, you feel personally confident in it.
Yeah.
I think that's super important, because if you waver, like you got to know what you want to do and how you want to do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you've got to know it all. You've just got to believe it.
I think courage is one of the most important things. And someone said there's a big difference to me, said this to me, that there's a big difference between confidence and courage. And I think that's really true. I think you've got to, when you are about to launch your business or think you have it in you, you've just got to have the courage to take that step. I mean, for me, the business was actually my mum's, so it's a bit different to, I think, the rest of you on the sofa, because she had run the business for 10 years. I was a teacher. I taught little people. And actually there's a lot of transferable skills there, but it was my mum's brainchild, but she always said to me, if you want to take on the business, you can buy it off me.
And what made you think, I'm going to take this on? What was that
My
moment?
mum.
Your mum?
It was my mum, actually.
Yeah.
She had the confidence in me before I think I did. Aww. So, and she continues to be a great push to me, but she made me take the first step, and then I've kind of just been trying to keep up ever since, running ever since. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. How about you?
I think it's as you ladies quite rightly said, it's courage, it's also confidence, it's also just this kind of burning desire that you really have got to do it. And I think I got to an age where I was like, okay, it's now or never. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah.
And I just did it. I think that's the thing, you can't overthink it. If you overthink it, you'll never do it.
Yeah.
It's like having a baby, never overthink it, just do it.
Just get it done.
You'll just figure it out.
Figure it out
And I
along
think
the
that's
way.
the same, but I think it's that kind of burning desire. It's like this, you can't really explain it. It's this kind of feeling that it's something you have to do.
It's a have to.
It's a have to.
Yeah,
you have to do it.
Exactly.
If you had to give our viewers one piece of advice if they wanted to make that leap into starting a business, what would the one piece of advice be?
I think just simply do it, because if you're on the fence, it's likely you'll regret it if you don't.
Yeah.
Because you've got yourself to be on top of the fence.
Yeah.
So you're halfway there, just go for it, take the step, do all the work before you launch. I think that's so
that's
important.
a really, really good piece of advice.
Really look at your competition.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at
Do your
what's
research.
within your means.
Do your research.
Yeah.
You've got to know everything about it.
Yeah.
You've then got to believe so that you're infallible. Like, you can this is why it's good. This
Yeah.
is what's going to happen, and then you got to jump off the cliff and do it.
Yeah. And I think you've got to be okay with failure. I think that's something that if you are not okay with failure, then don't do it. I would say just don't put yourself in that position because it's very stressful if you are worried about that.
Yeah.
But if you really sort of think about it and think, what happens if I fail? Nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's,
And you learn.
You learn
You're
as
doing
well as
something so new.
Exactly. And I think if you're a problem solver, if you're okay with, if you haven't got such an ego that you don't mind failing a bit, then do it, for sure.
Oh my God.
But be prepared. There's
There's
be
a
crisis.
There's a lot to come. I'd also love to know what you need to have in place before you start that business. Obviously, people are sat on the fence. They might be doing another job at the same time. When do you go all in?
I think, okay, it depends on your product, right? Because some things take, 2 years to get to market and some things take 6 months. So I think there's an element of obviously understanding that process and I wouldn't advise anyone to leave too quickly if it's going to take 2 years to get your product up and running, unless you're, a scientist and you're in the lab and you've got to get in there every single day and completely commit to it. So I think there's certain elements, research you can do, you can have your coffees, you can go and do that in the evenings. You don't have to be all in on that. But I would say when you get to a point, at least 6 months before I would say you're going to launch, you need to be all about that. Like that would, I would say, the minimum. If you can do a longer runway, great. Yeah. But that's the point where you've got to think marketing, you've got to think website, you've got to think retailers if that's applicable.
Yeah.
But
social media, all
of that.
Yeah.
I would say 6 months is the minimum where you've got to just be all
you've got to focus.
Yeah. Probably longer, but minimum.
Okay, Georgia.
And I think people do it in different ways. I have friends that launch businesses while they're doing other jobs. For me, I had to be all in. I had to finish what I was doing and I had to dedicate. I did it. Actually, I took 12 months to do it.
And that's scary, right?
It's really scary.
You've stopped that
yes.
income.
Yes.
Taking
You
that
get off
moment
the
to
carousel.
breathe.
What were you doing before?
I was living in New York actually, and I was head of design at Rag & Bone.
Oh,
and
wow.
so it was hard to get off the carousel, but I did it. And I just thought, okay, now I've done it, I have to commit to this. And so I took 12 months to develop the product properly and then launched.
That's really impressive.
Incredible.
I think that also really taking time, there's all the practicalities like we've spoken about, marketing, making sure your product is good, but actually really spending time talking to yourself about what you want your values to be as a business and how you see, I've never had a 5-year plan, probably terrible. I'm a terrible businesswoman, but I always knew what I wanted the business to stand for and who I knew my customer was. So talking and reminding myself, when the train goes out of control, really important to stop, go back to that first 6 months and say, all the decisions I'm making, do they still stand true to the values I wanted? Really bringing it back. Because if you lose focus on that, your customer, who I think is your your most important aspect to your growth, is really being in tune with your customer. They see when things don't feel authentic, and your
don't align.
Don't
all
align,
of that.
exactly. So there have been many times where I have made a bad on paper business decision because it didn't align with the values I wanted to make. So tough moments, but I think that's a sort of a really good lesson to remember.
Okay, I love that. 6 to 12 months, noted. Thank you, guys. Next up is another woman going after what she wants. I chatted to Perrie Edwards about moving on from Little Mix to a solo career.
On this week's Team Podcast, it's me, Charlotte Collins, and I'm joined by Nana and Lou, and this is a full fashion month debrief.
I don't think I've ever seen so many chic women in the space of 48 hours ever. I feel so inspired.
We are talking shows, we're talking Paris, we're talking Victoria Beckham.
Obviously, the whole Beckham family were there. Anna Wintour was sat next to David.
We're also talking about the best new show that's dropped on Netflix in years. We're all obsessed and we have a new crush.
Their first kiss is just...
all of their kisses.
We're loving the Vogue docs.
Great casting on the talking heads.
Everyone from Sarah Jessica Parker to Nicole Kidman. And we spill all the tea on our Molly May shoot too. Plus, we're going to be solving your dilemmas. So make sure you tune in. It is a seriously good one.
Perrie Edwards is no stranger to the spotlight. As a member of Little Mix, she became a pop sensation and subsequently had to deal with life in the public eye from a very young age. Now, back with her latest release, she's taking to the stage once again, but this time on her own terms. She joins us today to talk about navigating fame, the changes and the confidence that come with motherhood and her new single. Thank you for joining me, Perrie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
Aww, it's so nice to see you again.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. We're just having a little reminisce.
Yeah.
Jumping in with some great questions for you. First of all, can you please tell me about your best fashion moment?
I think my favourite thing that I wore it was on what tour was it? God, we had so many of them. I don't know what it was. I think it was the Glory Days tour.
Yeah.
I just think when you're on stage, you can go big.
I know.
Like you can go, it's so extra. Like,
yeah.
So I had like this outfit and it was kind of cowgirly, but it also had feathers that were like twice the size of me. And I just felt so incredible on stage.
Oh my God, I love that. Whose style do you love?
Oh, I love Sarah Jessica Parker. Okay. I feel like everything she wears in, obviously, Sex and the City, like all of the episodes are just her looks are iconic. I think all the girls dress really well. Yeah, I just love like that model off duty look as well. I think they do it so well.
Love that. Please, can you let us know what is your best Little Mix moment? Obviously, a lot to choose from, but if you had to pick one.
Maybe when we won our first Brit Award.
Okay.
I think that was pretty special.
Yeah. What was the Brit Award for that you guys won?
I think it was for Best Single. I think it was for Shout Out to My Ex.
Yeah.
But we really felt like we'd made it. Like we were like, this is it. We had the best night ever because we performed as well. And then we got to get dressed again. So we had like 3 different looks for the night, which I love. I love a quick change.
Yeah.
And we just like partied all night and just had the best time. It was incredible. But it was actually that night we celebrated, had the latest night ever. I had to get up so flipping early to catch a flight to New York because we were performing in Madison Square Garden.
Oh my gosh, so you had a crazy couple of days.
It was a crazy few days, but it was the best few days ever. We couldn't believe it, like we were riding on cloud 9. Oh, it was so epic.
I love that. Can you let me know what your most memorable tour performance was?
Oh gosh, I honestly have loved all of the Little Mix tours, but I think my 2 favourites were the Get Weird tour because it was just wild and chaotic, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But I think the Glory Days tour I love because it took us so far around the world.
Yeah.
Like we did Southeast Asia, we did Australia, New Zealand, we did everywhere, and I just remember it being some of the happiest times of my life.
Where was the best place that you travelled on that tour, would you say?
Oh gosh. I mean, the Philippines was so epic. Japan, I always love performing in Japan.
Yeah.
Dublin,
yeah,
like the Irish are so lit.
Yeah.
And then our hometown, so like I love going to Newcastle. I love performing in London. Manchester's a really good one. Just everywhere, honestly, everywhere's quite good.
Oh, I love that. What is the best part about being a solo artist?
Do you know what? I was thinking this the other day, and I was thinking it could come off quite selfish to other people, but I know me and I know the girls so well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking it's so nice for us to all just go off and do our own thing and have fun with it and experiment with it and just enjoy our own little lanes, but knowing that we've got each other.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah, forever.
I think we were getting to the stage in our lives where 2 of us had children.
Yeah.
Jade didn't. One of our members left. It was a very weird dynamic towards the end. And I was literally sat thinking about it the other day, thinking, how nice is it though that the other 2 girls are going off living their best lives, doing what they want, Leanne with our fashion and our music, and having the best time, and then me juggling like work life, mum life.
Yeah.
It is quite nice to march to your own beat for a while.
That's it. Does it feel quite kind of freeing? Because you're obviously not on anyone else's schedule.
Yeah, it's very liberating. Yeah. And I don't say it in like that way as like, oh, it's so nice to do what the hell I want for once. It's nice to be able to, do, for all of us, not hold any of like
anyone
us back. Yeah.
Oh,
I love it.
I love that. What is the worst part about being a solo artist?
The worst part is the pressure, I think. Because when you're in a group, you're like, oh, if we release this and it works, it works. If it doesn't, whatever. We had each other to lean on a lot. Like when it comes to like the press and interviews and all these different things, it was so much more fun and like easy when you had the girls to kind of bounce off.
Yeah.
But then it is easier being a solo artist in different ways. It's like there's pros and cons to all of it, I think.
Who is the best celebrity that you've ever met?
I got really starstruck by Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson, because she is like my everything. I love Goldie Hawn movies.
Have you seen Overboard?
My favourite movie.
Oh my God, I love that film
My absolute
so
favourite
much.
movie. Was I short and fat? Like, I literally, honestly, I could quote that film back to front. Like, I'm obsessed with her.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we met them at I think it was the Glamour Awards or something.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
trying
lovely.
to explain to the girls, like, Goldie Hawn is there. And they're like, who? And I'm like, what do you mean, who? I'm like, Overboard. No, First Wives Club.
Yeah,
no,
nothing.
House Sitter. Anything, Private Benjamin.
Oh my God, House Sitter. That's another
Like,
good one.
all of them. I'm like, she's a classic Goldie Hawn. So I got her, like, movies up on Google to show the girls who she was. I'm like, you don't understand. We're in the presence of a legend.
Yeah.
And the girls were like, oh, okay. So as we went over to take a picture, I was so nerdy, but I was actually shaking. And I've never felt like that before with anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I've met some of my idols and I'm like, wow, that was great. But with her, for some reason, it really got me. And I was shaking. And then I was like, oh, would it be okay to have a picture? And we turned around and Kate was like, with me? And I was like, kind of both of you, but yes. But she seemed surprised that we were asking for a picture. I hope we weren't bothering her.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, she was just lovely. Like, they were both so lovely. And then when I went to get my camera up, obviously
the film.
Goldie Hawn films were on my phone and I felt mortified. And I was
Did
like,
she see it?
She's seen it.
Oh, okay.
100% seen it.
Okay,
I was
a little
horrified.
bit,
And then I sat down at the table and I was thinking, you girls.
This is
that
your
was
fault.
your fault. I know exactly who they are. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but it was fine.
Gosh, okay, so she'd be number one. Who is one of
Definitely
your
number one.
idols that you would say that you've met?
My best experience, I think, ever in life was I spoke to Steve Perrie on the phone.
Oh.
Yep, Steve Perrie is the lead singer of Journey, for anyone who doesn't know, who I was named after. And yeah, he rang me
were
one
named?
time. Yeah, my parents were like obsessed with Journey and they named me Perrie.
Oh my God.
And then...
And what was the chat
that's it.
about?
He was so nice. Oh my gosh, he was so humble. A humble king. Humble. Humble. He was like, thank you for being a fan of me and for all this time and supporting me. And he was like, I love that you do what you love and I love that you're a singer too. And he was like, maybe we can meet one day and, you know, I'd love to come to one of your shows. He probably didn't mean that. He was obviously not coming to an LM gig, but, you know, but I still was like,
thank you.
what a guy.
Yeah.
He's a living legend.
What does friendship mean to you?
I have like two views on friendship. I feel like obviously friendship is key. Like, you've got to have a mutual understanding. You've got to be there for each other. You've got to, you know, have each other's backs through thick and thin. But then I also love the friendships where I'm like, I haven't spoke to you for like 3 months, but come over and we'll be literally thick as thieves. Like, I love that too.
Yeah.
But friendship for me is just being honest with each other, having each other's backs, that kind of sisterhood that I love. It's just honest and it's real and it's fun. And it's like, you don't have to put on a facade in front of them. Like, you can just be yourself. I love it.
I love that.
friendship.
How do you practice self-care? What do you do? What's Perrie doing on a down day? Self-care Sunday? What does that look like?
Self-care. I never used to do self-care, but I've done it a lot now. I do it quite a lot whenever I've got time off.
Yeah.
I love Pilates, Reformer Pilates.
Reformer. Do you ever do maths?
Love it.
Just
Yep, love it all.
Yeah.
I actually love oiling my hair. This is like a random one. I'm on a hair care journey.
Okay.
So I've like done a lot of abuse to my hair.
Right. So
like
what are we
the
trying to
bleaching
achieve?
and everything. So I like oil it every like maybe 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Treatments. All those
I know
things.
everyone is going to ask, what hair oil do you use?
Oh, I've got a few.
Okay.
What is it called? It's got the lion on the front and it's something in rumble or something.
Okay.
It's really good.
We'll find it. We'll actually find it. We'll
Yeah.
pop it up somewhere.
I also love like Kerastase oils are really good.
What have you learned recently about yourself, would you say?
What have I learned?
Anything?
Oh, since becoming a mum, I've learned to not be as much of a pushover, which I quite like.
Okay.
I feel like before I had Axel, I was very much like, okay, I'll do that. I was a people pleaser. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily. I just didn't want to upset anybody.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I've got like this new lease of confidence and like, if anyone tries it, I'm like, well, try me then.
Yeah.
before I'd be like, please don't. I don't even want to talk about it. I hate confrontation. I hate any of that kind of thing. It really gets to me. I get like worked up.
Yeah.
I get panicked. But I feel like now I just feel a lot more stronger in myself and my decisions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
That's good. I would love to know what is on your 2025 bucket list.
I really want to take my little boy to Disneyland because I feel like he's getting to the age where he'll understand
old is he
it
now?
more. He's 3. He just turned 3.
Yeah.
So I feel like he'll appreciate it, and
Yeah.
he's Disney mad. Like, I'm definitely doing the Lord's work here. He is a Disney fan, and he knows all the songs, all the movies.
What's his favourite?
He loves Elsa, so he loves Frozen.
He's a Frozen fan.
Loves Frozen, loves Moana.
Good one.
He's into Pinocchio quite recently. It freaks him out a little bit, but he just loves it. Got no strings, up and right down, like loves it. And I just think it would be cool to like meet all the characters and like go on a few of the rides. He's got a need for speed as well.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
anything else? What about you? What do you want to do?
I would just love success and happiness would be mine. Yeah.
List. We love that. And what do you have still left to achieve? Obviously, Little Mix. You guys did so much, travelled the world. What is left for you?
Oh, my 2 main things is to get my album out in the world because it's the thing I'm the most proud of.
Yeah.
Like, I love it so much.
Do we have a date for that?
Hopefully at the start of next year.
Okay.
But I don't have an exact date yet.
Yeah.
But like, I understand as an artist, you have to release a single, then another single,
Yeah.
and la la la. I just want the album out. I'm like, just take the album. Like, let's not listen to songs in isolation, people. Let's just get the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm most proud of, I think. I absolutely adore it. And touring in some way, whether it's like little fan event shows or like some gigs or intimate gigs or whatever, just to get on stage, to sing and perform and
in front of people.
yeah, because every time I'm on stage, I'm like, oh, this is why I do this. This is why I love it so much. So I want that fuzzy feeling in my tummy to come back.
Yeah. So your new single, You Go Your Way, is out when?
October the 4th, and I'm so excited. I'm buzzing.
Wait, well, all of the best of luck with the single and the album for next year as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. Lovely chat.
Love her single so much, and she was such a babe to chat to. But back to you guys, I would love to know, what is the worst mistake that you have made in business? I mean, there must have been some moments along the way where it went a little bit tits up.
I think, like Georgia said, you know, you're actually constantly making mistakes, especially in those first few years where you're trying so many things out and things work and things don't. For me, I'm a terrible risk taker, which is not...
Bit of a thrill seeker.
I can't take the risk.
Oh, you
I'm a terrible risk taker. Yes,
You started a business. You
that is
risk.
Terrible businesswoman. I really am. Being very in tune, trying to be very in tune with my customer. You know, when I took over the business, my mum had 70 followers on Instagram. It was photos of her dogs and her grandchildren.
At least she knew what Instagram was.
I knew. Mum, I love you, but no. But I'm the person who runs our inbox, and I think being very connected to the customer is something that has really put me in good stead. I knew that they wanted warmer styles. You know, my mum had always done white cotton, and I wanted to do warmer twill, but still light and drapey and beautiful across the woman's body. I was so nervous to do it, even though I knew the demand was there, and I knew it had come straight from the horse's mouth. And I ordered way too few, way too few. And we launched last Christmas, and I was like, this is going to last us till Christmas. Oh, is it going to be a huge flop? And it sold out in 5 days.
Oh my God.
And then we had...
And when did you launch? So
we launched the first week of November, and then gone.
5 days.
Barely anyone had started Christmas shopping. And you know, the customer was always so sweet. We're so lucky, but they were disappointed. And our lead times, you know, we have a wonderful supplier in India, and rightly so. The lead times are very long.
So
and we couldn't get nothing we could do. And that was a real lesson for me to trust. And I think listening to your gut, knowing what you're doing is something that people want, And sometimes you have to put yourself outside of that comfort zone and say, this is big, this is a big down payment, but you just got to go for it because you've got to trust yourself that there are people there who want it.
And I think that's an amazing lesson, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is it.
That's what I wanted to know as well. What have you learned from these mistakes?
Exactly.
And obviously you've learned to believe in yourself. Also know your customers. Like,
know your customer.
Yeah.
Taking that initial leap, like you have to be okay with making mistakes and failing a little bit here and there. But I think for me, mistakes actually are the most valuable experiences.
They're the learning experiences.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to make that mistake again. So you're very, very in tune with not doing it again. So it's actually, it's healthy, I think, to kind of, you know, have those things. But I think, like you were saying, Emily, I think the initial stages you're testing, you're in test mode. You're kind of like trying a bit of that, bit of this, bit of that. And I think as you grow with your business, you sort of try to mitigate as much as possible. Where we have sort of faltered slightly is when we've tried to go down a more sort of, let's say, trodden path, let's say, so followed a status quo rather than followed something that, you know, when I started the brand, it was to do something different. It was to change behaviours. It was to offer a solution and be part of a solution. And you start to think, oh, maybe I should do like this because they're doing very well. Yeah. And that's where we've sort of made, you know, small mistakes where it's been like, well, let's be more commercial. Yeah. Yes. Actually, our customer doesn't want us to be commercial because they can go buy that thing from someone else. So it's like you were saying earlier, stay true to your
maybe
mission statement. Yeah, don't be too influenced. Like be
stay
sort
in
of
your lane.
It's really true.
Just be really sort of, you know, again, trusting your values, your brand intent, your, I guess, heart really of like why you started the brand.
There's definitely, you know, it sounds corny, but every mistake is something that you learn from. So I'm very similar in that sense of like, I wouldn't even call it, it's not a mistake because it's just, it's a good, it's a good thing that comes from it, right? Yeah. I would say that the only thing which is, it's really about when you're in business and you have to work with other people, right? You have to find a way to get the best out of people. Right? Yeah. And not everyone is the same. So whether that is a retailer that you're working with, whether that's people that work for you, there are nuances that you have to get. You can't get that magic. You can't get the best out of people without those things. In any business, it's incredibly collaborative, right? You can't do it by yourself. Yeah. And you need everybody to feel it, to want it, to do it. So
true.
Yeah. What, have you had any kind of major...
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, and that's part of your learning. Because like, you know, when you're 20, you behave differently to when you're, you know, when you're nearly 40. Like, there are just different things that you would handle things differently. You'd say things differently.
At what point, I should say, were you like, right, this is it, it's a success?
I feel
like your pajamas that you ordered at Christmas.
So you knew.
Rosie Huntington Whiteley packed us in her overnight bag for giving birth. We have loads of pregnant.
Wow.
George has got 2 of our nighties.
Yes,
she just told me she's just had a baby. So that was a moment.
Yeah.
That sold out in a night. So that was stressful as well. Great. But I always put, like I said, I never have a 5-year plan. I kind of have a 1 to 2 year plans.
Yeah.
So my first one was to open an office of women, and this comes back to your point, that all felt compelled to be on a mission, to do something really lovely together, who all felt valued. And that is what I have at the moment, which is incredible. I have 5 full-timers. We're still very small, but we are in an office together and they're all incredible. And so now I've got to set my next one, and I think it's probably a shop. So I like...
exclusive. I love that. Heard it here first.
My poor head of customer service is going to be like, no shop yet. No, like 2 years. But, you know, I think it's set yourselves mini milestones, you know, because the big ones where people are like, when are you selling? What? Never. What? No, I don't want to sell. You know, set yourselves the little ones. Yeah. Those are the ones that really feel good. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, for me, I think it was, every day I'm like, yes, we made it through a day. We made it. We're winning at life. We launched the brand in 2019, and then COVID happened. Yeah. And then the first time we could travel was 2021. And I took the first flight out from Heathrow to New York, actually, and got to New York, and we had a 3-day pop-up. Yeah. And we opened
a good risk taker.
I love a risk. I love taking a risk. I'm the opposite to you. I love it.
New York's always a yes.
New York's always a yes. It's never a bad idea. And so we opened this pop-up, and we opened the door, and literally, it was just like
a tsunami
of people. And there was 3 of us in the shop, myself, my investor, and one of my team members.
Yeah.
And we did not know what to do. We literally didn't know what to do.
Not
We were like,
prepared.
oh my goodness. And so we were like trying to check people out, and we were like, "Meh." And then that was the moment I was like, how did this happen? I don't know how this happened. And it was, in 2 hours, it was insane. It was the most insane amount of, sales. And
I totally have that same feeling. So we did a pop-up. So we launched last September. And then in October half term, we did a massive pop-up in Covent Garden, but in a car park. So it was like this massive 5,000 square foot space, which is, for pop-ups, it's huge.
Yeah.
We had games, we had content zones, but it was like, are 2 people going to turn up? Or
It's
very like,
it's
you
really
never,
stressful.
you never know,
It's like
right?
organising a birthday party.
It's like, I have more confidence in people coming to my birthday party. But you're like, okay, this is teens, this is new. That was the other thing for us. This is such an tried, untested. So we were just kind of like, is anyone gonna come? And then all of a sudden, there's like some girls sitting on like concrete cold floor, and I'm like,
really?
Are you lost? They're like, no, we're here for the pop up. I'm like, it's 7 a.m. What are you talking about? Whoa. And then suddenly the queues just started, and I was like to my team, let's go get them like hot chocolate, something. They're just sitting here, like, bless them. But there was this massive thing of like, shit, it worked. They came, like, and this was 4 days of queues and round the block, and I was like, we've hit something, and you never know. Like, we've been really lucky in the moments leading up to that when we'd gone to formulate, factories that we worked with were like, I get it, I get the idea, and they, we were a little startup. They were like, no, I get it. Okay, we'll help you. Then when we started to talk to teenagers themselves, they were like, yes, we're obsessed, we want to be involved in this brand. Then you started to like speak to retailers, then they were like, actually there's in every single milestone there's like,
I think that's so true, that positive affirmation.
It's just knowing exactly, like you believe it obviously, but all those little things you think somebody other than me thinks actually this makes sense. So I think that was definitely very similar. Like you suddenly had this thing where you just don't know, and you're like, smashed it. Like,
I
really
love
good.
that. They were all such nice stories. Next up, master facialist and skincare expert Michaella Boulder talks us through her skincare routine and the 3 key ingredients that must be included to transform your skin.
Hi guys, I'm Michaella Boulder, and today I'm going to tell you how to overhaul your skin in time for the autumn-winter months. I'm going to show you 3 products that I highly recommend to my clients post-treatment and for at-home skin maintenance, and they are from the Medicate brand. Now they have and they own the CSA, and the CSA is what they pioneer their functional skincare routine, and that is because they focus on vitamin C and SPF for day and vitamin A by night. They are fundamental products and ingredients that will help to stimulate cell turnover, antioxidant support, and give you an overall more youthful and bouncy complexion. So, these guys are your daytime routines. Now, why vitamin C? Vitamin C helps to encourage collagen within the skin tissue. It also helps to brighten hyperpigmentation, reduce fine lines, antioxidant support, and also help to reduce UV cell damage. Aside from that, the velvety texture of this serum is gorgeous. It is backed up with red ginseng, so that's for that brightening, vibrant effect for the skin. We also have vitamin E, squalane, and maracuja, which is also lipids, essential fatty acids to help repair the barrier function of the skin. All of that in one easy product. So I'm going to show you how I use the SheerLuxe. I'm going to take 6 drops. I'm only going to use my fingertips to blend the product around my skin so that I don't waste the product on the insides of my hands. You can smell how potent it is, but feel how velvety smooth this product is to apply. We don't want to massage too much, and you don't want to take the product out to your hairline, so you want to keep it in the centre of your face, just tiny little flicks to move it around so we're completely covering the face and neck. step 2 for your morning is Advanced Day Ultimate Protect 50 from Medicate. Now this gorgeous bottle actually contains a moisturiser and your SPF in one. So immediately we're actually losing a step, so that's time gained for the day. But more than that, it is a soft and no white cast SPF that glides and settles effortlessly on the skin. The Ultimate Protect is infused with multi-weight hyaluronic acid and also squalane, so you get those extra benefiting, nourishing ingredients for your skin every day. So an easy one to know how much SPF you should put on is by aligning it on 3 fingers. Then blend between those fingers, but not your hands, straight onto the skin, neck, forehead, to cover all areas safely. And for your evening, we have the Medicate Crystal Retinol 6. There is a strength for everyone in this product, and I would say Medicate are so famous for their Crystal Retinol range because it is so clever and it is so well made. Now, there are professional grade ingredients in these products, and the conversion of a retinol in comparison to a retinol is much further down the pathway, meaning that a retinol ingredient gets to work quicker and more effectively than a retinol, but backed up with hyaluronic acid, glycerin and vitamin E to help soften the delivery of retinol into the skin, to help retain moisture and also antioxidant power, but to get to work on that cell turnover and making sure that we are encouraging our cell turnover to work towards a more youthful, vibrant and bouncy skin complexion. So I'm going to take 2 pumps of retinol and I'm going to use my fingers to move it around the face without overloading and making sure that the product is spread evenly. Always avoid the eye area directly when using a retinol or retinol. That is why there are targeted eye treatments from the brand. And then your leftover product between your fingers to take down the neck. So I hope you've enjoyed my piece today on the 3 fundamental groundworks of your skin routine to create a vibrant, plump and hydrated skin ready for the winter months coming. I'll link all of the products I've spoken about below and I'll see you again soon.
She obviously knows what she's talking about. Her skin is insane. She gets flown out to the Oscars to do lots of A-listers, pre-red carpet, so her advice is really gold dust. Now, I want to move on to things that we are loving. This is one of our favourite topics on SL. Let's give it a little business spin to begin with. So, any business podcasts or books or anything like that that you're loving at the moment?
I have a great business podcast suggestion.
Yes.
It's called Up With The Lark. It's run by...
Oh, I love Calandra. She's
So
so
do
nice.
I.
Yeah, she's so nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's
Have
great.
you been on it?
Yeah.
Same. And I'm not saying go to my episode. There are much better episodes. She very sweetly interviewed me when I was still quite new, and so I feel
What's
like
the name of the podcast?
it's called Up With The Lark. Up With
It's
The Lark.
very good, yeah.
It's brilliant
Yeah.
because she's a consultant, business consultant. If anybody, is setting out and is on that fence that we were talking about earlier, she's got a wealth of knowledge and just gives such beautiful advice.
Yeah.
Really, really creative thinking. But she talks to lots of small business owners, independent business owners, big business owners, about their journeys, and she curates each podcast with a theme. So she'll talk about the classics, the importance of thinking about values, the importance of thinking about customer. And there's a backlog that if you are thinking, and I think it's important to learn all the time, but her podcast is really, really brilliant, and you should listen to George's.
Definitely don't listen to mine.
Georgia, anything that you're listening or reading or anything at the moment?
Well, I've just started listening to, it's a podcast series called Acquired, and they're really long. They're like 4 hours long. But I just had a baby, so I kind of need something for feeding times at like 4 a.m. to listen to. It's quite heavy. Well, it's not heavy. It's serious listening, but it's quite inspiring.
Can we talk about the fact that you have got 9 years old?
Insane.
I
I've
am
literally
in
just found
awe.
that out. I'm like, okay.
You're so amazing.
Here on the
The
set, like,
skin,
incredible.
the brightness.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
you
impressed.
are glowing
Sweaty.
still.
Well, actually, I've been using my friend is Tata Harper, and she has an amazing skincare brand.
Yes.
So, a bit of a plug for Tata here. She has kept me going.
Yeah.
Her products, I've just slapped them on.
So they look great.
You're going straight to Tata.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go to Tata always. But yeah, Acquired. It's an interesting series of podcasts. It's about obviously your business being acquired, and I'm halfway through the LVMH one, and it's super interesting. It sets out the whole story, but it's like 4 hours long. So yeah, but there's all these
On a plane, like a
Kind of like
yeah,
an
it's a
audio
great
book,
plain
like
one.
a mini audio
Yeah,
book.
kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really it's very interesting. They've got one on WhatsApp. It's all the kind of major businesses.
Amazing. I love
It's
that.
really interesting.
That's good. That's a really good one.
I find you need to really probably have a mentor or someone to talk to. So I'm really lucky. I'm an only child, and both of my parents have been in this industry, and have like. I always say that I was a sponge at home, not really realising,
knowledge.
and it's just. But I think that's so important, like to be able to come home and. Or not even come home, just be able to talk to somebody, whether it is the shit that's going on, the good bits, the bad bit, all of it. And my parents are very different. You know, my mum's super creative, super kind of, you know, product junkie obsessed. So like anything, I'm like, what's this, what's that? And she knows about everything. Whereas my dad's got that creative bit, but amazing at building businesses. So there's just, I just think whoever it is, like if you can have someone, it could be your husband, it could be your best friend, it could be whoever, but having that, I think is, I love that, having that relationship.
Yeah, I think there are like no shortcuts in like business or career, but having a mentor is a real cheat code that will really, really help. Like I always believe in that. But back to normal stuff, like anything on TV, anything.
Slow Horses, Yellowstone. I'm so excited for Yellowstone to come back.
Oh, I love that show.
Have you watched the
The
trilogy?
pre-one?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched the pre-one yet because I found it this year and I blitzed it.
Yeah.
So I'm
good.
so
I found
happy.
it last year and I watched 5 seasons. I had really bad jet lag coming back from like Costa Rica, and I watched 5 seasons in 10 days.
Whoa, the binge.
Okay.
That's incredible. They're so good.
Yeah, it's so good. What are you watching, Georgia? Anything?
I mean,
Well,
I'm listening to nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
She's in that
Yeah,
phase.
I'm in that phase.
Baby TV.
Yeah, exactly. I'm about 5 years too late, but I just discovered Succession. I mean, not discovered it, I knew about it, but I just started watching it. So yeah, that's good.
How not to run a business.
How not to run a business, and I hope my child doesn't become like that.
That's amazing.
I'm really excited about Rivals. Jilly Cooper? Anyone?
Stumped. I've not heard.
Okay, well, Jilly Cooper's like the author of My Teenagehood.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you read any Jilly Coopers?
I've actually never read any Jilly Coopers, but
Okay.
I've seen them on my mum's bookshelf.
Kind of, I feel like they're iconic.
They are
I feel
iconic.
like
They are. Yeah.
They've tried to do series of the books before, but they've always fallen flat. Anyway, the write-ups on Rivals, which is coming out next week on Disney.
Okay.
And it is, I mean, we won't recognise it. It's based in the 80s, because we're all so young. I was born in the 80s. It looks to be incredible. The cast is amazing. Danny
Really?
Dyer. I'm going
Dyer?
to forget his name, the guy who was in Poldark.
Adrian. Adrian.
He's in it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be incredibly kitsch and amazing.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am currently watching, it's finished now, but I've still got 3 episodes left. Bad Monkey on Apple.
Love Vince Vaughn.
With Vince Vaughn, which I think has really gone under the radar.
Yeah, I haven't
but
seen.
Yeah, it's very funny. And Jodie Turner-Smith, my ultimate girl crush, is in it.
Oh, she's amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah, she
Love
is.
her. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, guys. That is it for today. And of course, thank you to Perrie and Michaella. Next week, Louise is back with great guests, more fabulous content. In the meantime, we would love it if you could comment below, give us a thumbs up, and do subscribe if you haven't yet. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Goodbye.